My name is Kenya, and I never imagined I would be telling this story. Growing up, everything seemed pretty normal. It was me, my older brother Daniel, and our parents, living in a modest home on a quiet street. My mom stayed at home and managed some inherited money, while my dad worked hard as a sales manager at Burke's Building Supplies. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. My parents always seemed to treat Daniel and me the same, and they made sure to save for our college educations, sacrificing where they could to make sure we had a good future. When Daniel graduated high school, they threw him a big party to celebrate, but when it was my turn, things felt different. My graduation was a much quieter event, just a small family dinner before I left for college. As I drove away to school, I felt a sense of freedom, like I was finally escaping the shadow of my brother and could start being myself. College was everything I hoped for. I made new friends, joined the debate team, and even started dating. I'd call home sometimes to update my parents, but it always felt like they were more interested in talking about Daniel than me. Time passed, and I finished my degree. I was eager to start my career and move to the city, but when I returned home to visit, things felt off. The house smelled strongly of cleaning products, and my mom barely looked up from preparing for Daniel's new girlfriend, Harley, to come over for dinner. It was like I wasn't even there. Over the next few days, I watched as my parents fawned over Daniel and Harley. Daniel had landed a prestigious job at an investment firm, and suddenly, he could do no wrong. My mom acted like a maid, constantly waiting on him and Harley, even keeping Daniel's room as if he were still a child. It didn't take long to realize that I no longer fit into that home. My childhood room had been turned into Daniel's office, and Harley had taken my seat at the dinner table. It felt like I had been erased from the family. One evening, after dinner, my dad pulled me aside. "Kenya," he said in a tone that was more businesslike than fatherly, "your mom and I think it's time you found your place. You're a college graduate now, and it's time to spread your wings." It hit me like a ton of bricks. They were essentially asking me to leave. The way he said it, it almost sounded like he was doing me a favor. That night, I called my grandma Lakeland, my father's mother, who was the only one in the family who seemed to understand me. "Oh, sweetie," she said warmly when I told her what had happened, "you come stay with me, I've got plenty of room." I thought about it, but deep down, I knew it was time to find my own path. I needed to stand on my own 2 feet, without being overshadowed by anyone else. "Thanks, Grandma, but I think I need to do this on my own," I told her. There was a brief silence, then she spoke again, her voice filled with pride. "I'm proud of you, Kenya. I'll tell you what, I'll cover your first month's rent as a graduation gift." Though I tried to refuse, Grandma insisted. A week later, I was settling into my new apartment, a simple studio with a kitchenette and a view of the parking lot, but it was mine, and I was proud of that. I landed an entry-level job at a local marketing firm, a humble start, but it felt like the beginning of a new chapter in my life. I threw myself into my work, eager to build a life separate from the family drama I had left behind. As the months passed, my mom occasionally sent me short texts like, "Hope you're doing well." It seemed clear that I had become a background figure in their lives, while Daniel, their golden child, continued to take center stage. But then life threw me a surprise. 5 months after my move, I met Charles. He was different from anyone I had ever known. He listened to me, cared about my dreams and fears, and for the first time, I felt truly valued. Our relationship progressed quickly, and within 5 months, we decided to move in together. One evening, as we sat having a casual dinner, Charles proposed. I was overjoyed and said yes. Introducing Charles to my parents was the next challenge. When they learned about his stable job at a tech startup, they seemed impressed. During dinner, my dad asked Charles all about his work, and my mom seemed pleased with his plans for the future. They were practically glowing with approval. After all the years I had spent trying to meet their expectations, it felt like a victory. The next day, my mom called, excited. "Kenya, honey, your father and I have been talking," she said. "We want to help with the wedding. We'll cover half the costs and handle all the organizing. We want your day to be perfect." I was touched. After everything, it finally felt like I mattered to them, like I was on the same level as Daniel. But as the months went by, wedding planning took over. My mom was in charge, picking out the venue and organizing everything, while my dad made sure to invite every relative and business associate. I threw myself into the preparations, excited for the big day. I even found the perfect wedding dress, a beautiful lace and satin creation that made me feel like a princess. Just 3 weeks before the wedding, everything changed. Kenya, honey, my mom said over the phone, I'm so sorry, but we have to call off the wedding. Confused, I asked why. It's your brother, she said. He and Harley had a huge fight, and now she's left him. He's devastated. At that moment, everything crashed down. But Mom, everything is set. The guests are coming. We can't just cancel. My dad got on the phone and said, Kenya, don't be selfish. Your brother needs us right now. Selfish? I snapped. This is my wedding. You can marry whenever. Right now, Daniel needs our support. I felt completely betrayed. It was as if nothing mattered except Daniel and his problems. My wedding was suddenly nothing more than an afterthought. In a fit of rage, I called Daniel. When I confronted him, he admitted that he had cheated on Harley and was trying to get her back. He didn't even care about my wedding. Shaking with anger, I called my parents again. I told them what Daniel had done, but they didn't seem to care. It became clear to me that no matter what happened, my parents would always prioritize Daniel over me. That was when I realized something had to change. I couldn't let my wedding day be ruined by my parents' favoritism. I reached out to Grandma Lakeland for support. Grandma, I need your help, I cried. She listened patiently as I told her everything. After an hour, she called back and told me that my parents had canceled everything, including the venue and the guest list. But Grandma wasn't done. She had a plan. They're using the money they would have spent on your wedding to buy Daniel a vacation package and a new car, she said, her voice thick with frustration. They're going to pay for his wedding if Harley takes him back, Grandma continued. But don't worry, sweetheart, you deserve your special day. I'll pay for your wedding. Tears filled my eyes. I couldn't believe how much my grandma cared. She was going to help me, no matter what. Over the next few hours, we began to plan. I emailed all the guests, apologized for the confusion, and set a new wedding date, just 3 weeks away. Charles and his parents were incredibly supportive, and together with Grandma, we made it happen. Despite everything that had gone wrong, I knew this wedding would be different. It would be a celebration of love, surrounded by people who truly cared about me. And on the big day, when I walked down the aisle, I knew that, no matter what my family thought, I had found my happiness, and that was all that mattered. It was the beginning of a new chapter for Charles and me, one filled with hope and excitement, but it also carried a deep sadness, as the ties with my parents seemed to unravel beyond repair. For the longest time, it felt like I was invisible to them. My parents had completely withdrawn from the situation, leaving me to fend for myself, and in their absence, I felt as though my place in the family had been erased. Then, unexpectedly, my mom escalated the situation. She started bombarding me with calls, which I ignored at first, but soon came a series of voicemail messages. Her voice was sharp and full of accusations. Kenya, she seethed, I know exactly what you're doing with your grandmother. Stop it right now. You have no right to turn her against us. With a mix of anger and disbelief, I deleted her messages, but they kept coming. Each one grew more hostile, accusing me of manipulating Grandma for money, even threatening serious consequences if I didn't stop. Things took a dramatic turn when Charles showed me a Facebook post from my mom. It was like a public attack. It breaks my heart to say this, but my daughter Kenya has shown her true colors. She's manipulating her poor, confused grandmother for money. She doesn't care about family, only herself. How did we raise such a selfish child? I scrolled through the comments in shock, seeing that my dad had joined in, calling me a jealous sibling, accusing me of undermining the family. I couldn't believe it. Distressed but determined, I went straight to Grandma Lakeland's house. She was already setting up her iPad, ready to defend me. Your parents think I don't know how to use the internet, she laughed softly. Let's show them how wrong they are. Together, we recorded a video response. Grandma spoke directly to the camera, her voice firm but full of love. I'm Lakeland Thompson, and I'm here to set the record straight. I'm of sound mind, and I'm appalled by the lies my son and daughter-in-law are spreading about my granddaughter Kenya. She hasn't manipulated me, and I'm not confused. She is a kind, loving woman who deserves better than this. She went on to explain everything that led to the cancellation of my wedding, how my parents had always put Daniel first, and how they had treated me as less than. By the time she finished, I couldn't hold back the tears. Grandma was right, the truth needed to be heard. Charles and I uploaded the video that night. Within hours, it went viral among our extended family. Cousin Sarah supported me, while others, like Great Aunt and Uncle Mason, criticized my parents' actions, but for every person backing us, there were also those defending my parents. The divide in the family was now fully exposed, and I felt a mix of validation and sadness. The next day, I received a call from Uncle Ryan, my mom's brother. I hesitated, unsure if this was just more drama, but his voice was calm and warm. "Kenya," he said, "I saw the video, and I had no idea things were this bad. I want you to know I'm on your side, and if your dad's not coming to the wedding, I'd be honored to walk you down the aisle." His words brought tears to my eyes. I was so grateful for his support. As we continued with the wedding plans, Charles and I made a difficult but necessary decision. We crossed out the names of my parents and Daniel from the guest list. It hurt, but we had to do it to protect our happiness. Charles's parents were incredibly supportive. His mom embraced me tightly, saying, "You're family now, Kenya, we got your back." When the wedding day arrived, it was everything I had hoped for and more. We kept it small and intimate. Grandma Lakeland adjusted my veil in the bridal suite, and I felt a sense of peace. Uncle Ryan walked me down the aisle, and Charles's smile when he saw me was priceless. We exchanged vows, rings, and became husband and wife. The reception was a beautiful celebration, filled with love and joy. As we danced, laughed, and celebrated, Grandma Lakeland stood up and made a speech that took everyone by surprise. "Kenya, you've shown such strength through all of this. You're the granddaughter I always dreamed of having. So, I want everyone here to know that I've decided to make Kenya my sole heir." The room erupted in applause. I rushed to Grandma, hugging her tightly, overwhelmed with emotion. "Thank you," I whispered, my heart full of love for her. The rest of the night was a blur of celebration. As I looked around, I realized that this, Charles, his parents, and Grandma, was my real family. They were the ones who had truly supported me, and in that moment, I felt a deep sense of peace. But the calm didn't last long. About a week later, Charles and I were on the couch, looking at wedding photos, when my phone started buzzing non-stop with notifications. I opened Facebook to find that my parents had posted angrily about me again. "How dare you turn my mother against me?" my dad wrote. "You manipulative little witch. You've stolen our inheritance." My stomach churned. Before I could react, Grandma Lakeland called. "Don't you worry about a thing, dear," she said, her voice calm and reassuring. The next day, my dad called. His tone was different, defeated. "Kenya, your grandmother is threatening to take us to court. She claims she has evidence of harassment. Tell her not to do anything rash." I couldn't help but smile, feeling a sense of power I hadn't had in years. "I think you should tell her that yourself, Dad," I said, "and while you're at it, maybe apologize for all the trouble you've caused." I hung up, feeling lighter than I had in a long time. It was over. The months that followed were filled with love and support. Charles and I settled into married life. We had Sunday dinners with Grandma Lakeland, and every now and then, she'd share a mischievous story from her youth. "Did I ever tell you about the time I snuck out to see Elvis in concert?" she'd ask with a twinkle in her eye. Life wasn't perfect, but it was ours. We spent holidays with Uncle Ryan and his family, gradually mending those bonds. It wasn't the same as before, but it was real. As for my parents and Daniel, things didn't go well for them. Despite all the money they spent on Daniel's grand gestures, Harley had moved on. Daniel lost his job and found himself still living at home, coddled by our parents. They continued to treat him as the golden child, but without Grandma Lakeland's support, it seemed they were sinking deeper into their own choices. But I felt free. I had escaped their impossible expectations. I didn't know what the future held, but I was ready for whatever came next, surrounded by those who truly loved me.